I'm going to say something that's going to be slightly controversial to many people. The ability to work as a man is actually a gift. I know, doesn't always feel that way. And many of these young men today would probably feel very different. However, whether this gift turns out to be a blessing in your life or a curse in your life is going to be dependent on which route you go with that gift that you have. If you go one route where you are choosing to build a dream or chase down a passion. So you're creating a purpose, you're working towards a purpose. That's going to feel like a blessing in your life. The ability to work is going to be a blessing in your life. Not saying that it's going to be easy, not saying that it's going to be simple, not saying that there's not going to be plenty of problems, nor are there not going to be plenty of times where you have to put in a disproportionate amount of work compared to what it is that you're actually gaining. Not saying any of those things, but the ability to get to work is a gift. And if you are chasing a purpose of some kind, building a purpose, chasing a dream or a passion, you will feel like the ability to work is a gift in your life. It will be a blessing. If, however, you go the opposite route and you either choose or are forced into working to live and survive, that's when the ability to work is going to feel like a curse. That's when it's going to be a curse in your life. Now, there used to be this nice middle ground right in between where a man just had to provide, right? Because that is a middle ground. You did have to work you did have to work to live and survive, but you were also building a purpose. You were a family man. You had a wife and children that you cared about and that you loved, and you were able to put that family, make sure that they were warm, clothed, fed, and well taken care of, and push your progeny and into the future and provide for your family. So it was a nice middle ground. We have to be honest though, that middle ground for the most part, at least here in the Western culture, is largely gone. It used to take something to the effect of like 35 weeks of work per year to support a family. Now it's somewhere upwards of like 60 weeks of work per year. So unless you're a man that has two jobs, which I actually know plenty of them, and the overwhelming majority of them are Latinos that have two jobs, work their asses off, they have usually one day off where they're able to, sleep and spend time with their family. And other than that, they're working. I mean, they're just working themselves to death. So unless you're one of them, then you're going to be a person that you have a job, possibly still also two jobs, and your wife has a job. You're not really feeling like a provider at that point. The moment your wife has a job, we have to be real. We have to be honest. You're not really the provider anymore. So you don't really have that middle ground anymore. It's largely disappeared in the Western culture. So we have to think about it in terms of if you want your ability to work, the gift of being able to work to be a blessing in your life or a curse in your life. And it's going to be dependent upon the direction that you go. Now, if you are forced to be in a position to where you have to work to live and survive, it's not that you can't get over into the other category. It's just a matter of what kind of barriers are you facing and willing to overcome in order to leverage yourself to get the fuck out of there so you can get to the other side. Most people are not willing to do the amount of front end work that it takes for your ability to work, the gift of being able to work to be a blessing, to build a passion, to build a dream, to create a purpose. You often have to do a front end amount of work that feels like Herculean to most people. It is such a disproportionate amount of work that you have to do on the front end that most people will not do it. So they go the other route. And then once you find yourself in this other route, so instead of building a dream, instead of chasing a passion of some kind, they go the other route and they work to live and survive because then they no longer have to do the amount of work that it takes in the front end to live a better life on this side. The problem is once you get over here, realize that you're mostly working to create somebody else's dreams. When you're over here, you're accomplishing somebody else's dreams. I love this little saying or story or maxim or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, anecdote. There's a guy and he's at work, right? And his boss pulls up and he pulls up in a brand new, beautiful Ferrari. And he's like, damn, boss, man, that's a really nice car. And he goes, man, it is. He goes, I just bought it. You see that car? If you work hard and you do everything that you're supposed to be doing, next year, I can buy another one just like it. Pat him on his back and say, you have a good day. Don't forget to get back to work. Because when you're on this side, you're achieving somebody else's goals, somebody else's dreams. When we had that nice middle ground where providing was a nice middle ground between the two, and you had a happy home and you had a happy life, then that was not a problem. But now that's much harder to obtain. So when you're over here, you feel it will be a curse. There will be a point in time when you come to the realization you're like, holy shit, I am working my life away for almost nothing. So you have to understand that if you want to get out of this category and get over to this other category, which you will still end up having to do that front end work, you're just going to be doing it later, just so you're aware. But you're going to also there's barriers that you're going to have to overcome. They're going to be more difficult. So if you've got a couple of kids, you've got a wife, even if you don't, you just got a wife, or you just, even if you're by yourself, it doesn't matter. You're like, okay, well, I need to pool my resources with other people. So who do I go live with? Do you go live with your in-laws so you can save money, so you can get this all put together? Sometimes people are willing to do that. What if you have to what if there's 4 of you that are going to put a business together, right? So you're like, all right, well, we move all 4 of our families into one place. We're going to have to be uncomfortable for a few years, man. It's going to be a bitch. It's going to be a headache. But the truth is, most of your wives nowadays aren't willing to go through that much pain and stress. Not here in the Western culture. So whatever the barriers are, there's going to be some serious barriers, but you can leverage yourself and your position to get out of this category and into the other category. But then after that, same thing. You're going to be front end loading that work, right? Part of that front end loading of that work is going to be putting yourself in a position that's going to be very uncomfortable for a few years minimum. I just wanted to make sure you guys understand, as men, as these young boys, these young men that are coming into the ability to chase their own passions and their own dreams and work and stuff like that, you guys are now seeing work as something that is a punishment. But the truth is, I'm telling you the truth, the ability to work as a man is a gift. We are meant to build, we are meant to protect, we are meant to make things happen, to strive for things. And the ability to work is how we make those things happen. If you're like, well, I don't want to just work for somebody else and I don't want to just work my life away, but you're also not willing to chase a passion or dream, build anything, create a company, something like that. And then all you're trying to do is just sit around, smoke weed, kick it with stupid bitches that ain't worth a fuck, play video games, sleep in every day. Like you're not doing anything real with your life. And people are wondering why the male suicide rate in the Western culture is going up. Because you don't have a purpose. You don't have anything to live for. At least over here, when you are working to live and survive, while it is fucking miserable, at least you have a purpose. Wandering through life without a purpose is much worse than having a purpose that's misaligned with what you really want. Because you can always realign yourself if you so choose to do the work. The ability to work as men is a gift. Gentlemen, it is a gift. A lot of men are not capable of working, literally not capable of working. Either they can't handle it physically or there's no work to be had. And those men are miserable. They live miserable, miserable lives. Same thing when you're choosing not to work on anything. Your life, you're unfulfilled. We are meant to work, build, and make things happen, to strive for things. If you're not doing those things, you will always be unfulfilled. The ability to work as a man is a gift. How you utilize that gift will determine whether it is a blessing or a curse in your life.